Our guest today, very exciting day. We're interviewing two stalwarts in our Caribbean community. One is Willoughby Francis, the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Association, and the other is Carlos Simon, a member of the association,
The secretary.
the secretary of the organization. All right, thank you very much. I was now going to ask you guys to tell me about your functions and what do you do in the association. Um, you know, it's the association has had a long history. What inspired you guys to join the association? For example, you, Willow, to take on the leadership role of TNT Association.
Well, the thing that inspired that got me involved in the association to begin with is my uncle-in-law, the late Cyril Brown. He used to come to Trinidad when I was still resident in Trinidad, telling me about the two things that I have to do when I come to Washington. And one was to join the association, and the other one was to be a Redskins fan. so, so upon arriving here, I attended the first meeting that I could, and that meeting happened to be a nomination of officers. I hadn't joined as yet, but I was immediately nominated as recording secretary. And the rest is basically history. I remained a part of the organization for a while, for the next year or two, and I became one of the youngest presidents that they ever had in 1980.
Right, right, right.
And then, a lot of things happened since then, including COVID and the sale of the property on Georgia Avenue.
Right.
And when that property was sold, the organization became kind of dormant.
Yeah.
And Claudia Carter was responsible for calling everybody to order in order to get the organization revived.
Right, right, right.
And when that happened in an emergency meeting, what we call the IMC was formed. Not really an executive, but a group that was going to steer the organization into the next elections, because we had not had elections for several years.
Yes, yes, yes.
While that group was doing its thing under the leadership of Nigel Scott, I was recommended by Jeffrey Smith to help out with a project that they were doing, which was to try to get the gigging artists like the Leonard Jacks and those guys who play pan, who weren't getting any gigs, to do some sort of online show that we can pay them for.
Right,
So I
right.
came on there and we had some virtual concerts. We had probably, I think, about 6 of them. We did a few on our own, and we did a couple in conjunction with WAC TV, WAC radio station in Trinidad.
Yeah.
One of them was called Pan for Pan, in which we had 3 panists from the Washington area record a couple of their best songs, and 3 panists from Trinidad do the same thing.
Right.
The panists from Trinidad were the arranger from Renegades, and I forget the 2 other people. But anyway, we had a nice a show. We collected funds, donations and so on, and we were able to pay all of them at least.
Right, right, right.
At the first elections that we had, Nigel was nominated president, and at the end of his 2 years, I was nominated president, which would have been 2 years ago.
Right. And Carlos, as a member of the association, how did you first get involved with the association?
Well, I've been attending events that the association put on for years when they were on Georgia Avenue. I wasn't associated when they were on Delafield Place, but on Georgia Avenue, I was going to a lot of the functions, parang, and all the other different things that they were having. But I hadn't joined yet. Some years later, I did start giving donations to the association, and it's 2 years ago in 2023 when they were having elections, because I started attending the monthly meetings actually, about 3 years ago, and at a meeting in 2023, I was making suggestions and offering ideas, and Nigel Scott and Jeff Smith decided, oh, well, this guy's got ideas. Maybe he's willing to come to work for us. You know how that goes, Raj. And so that's what did it. So they asked me if I'd be willing to come on board and serve in the position of executive secretary, which is the part of the organization does the official communications to members and others outside of the organization to send things out, and also to provide support to the executives, to the president, the vice president, and the treasurer, and during meetings to keep things focused on the agenda for meetings and different things like that, and to provide other support to the other board members.
But what are some of the association's proudest achievements so far? I mean, I don't expect you to give me all, but give me a couple of them.
Well, most recently, we formulate. Well, let me step back a little bit. Years ago, we had a scholarship fund, and we were never able to get a 501c3 status for it. But most recently, we established a fund called Trinidadian Scholarship Fund, and that fund now has its own 501c3 designation. So the goal is to work with them, because we have to be separate entities now that they're their own, recognized by the IRS as a separate entity. We plan to work with them to help them to become a foundation, a foundation that provides full scholarships to the children with Trinidad and Tobago heritage. That I think, at least it was my biggest goal when I became president. So that happened. And the other things that we do are not as big as that, not as lofty as that, but we've been able to give away, in conjunction with two other organizations in the area, give away 300 turkeys and foodstuffs every year for Thanksgiving. And summertime, we give away backpacks for kids in the area, needy kids in the area.
So how are some of the items, some of the things that the association supports Trinidadian and Tobagonian community here in the area? Can you pinpoint any items?
When you say items, I mean
activities. Like, any giving the packs, the school packs to kids is one item, but that would go to an overall community. But specifically the Trinidadian and Tobagonian community, anything specific?
That is quite interesting. It's kind of difficult to identify the Trinidad and Tobago community because it's not one community. So what we have to do is to reach out to as many people as we know and let them know that we are doing this for people that they know who may be in need. And as a result, the backpacks get to those people. And same thing with the Thanksgiving turkey giveaways. Some of the residents who've been around longer than some of us, or who know more elderly people who may be in need, they're able to direct us to those folks so that we can get those packages to those people. You know, some of them are shut in, some of them are just not doing as well as they used to. So we can give them something that they can help their families at Thanksgiving time. The intention, as you asked that question, the intention is to become a little bit more direct in terms of reaching out to the communities, because what we have done is we have reorganized the organization into a bunch of committees, and a couple of them are geared towards reaching out to the Trinidad community and also the Caribbean community in general. One is what we call the External Engagement Committee, which is going to reach out to all of the other Trinidad and Tobago organizations And I don't know whether you know, but there are quite a few Trinidad and Tobago organizations.
Oh yes, I remember Harold McKell was one of those who was the instigator and creator of the first national conference of Trinidad and Tobago associations in the United
Yeah,
States.
that's a national thing. Yeah, yeah. I don't know that that is in existence anymore.
No. Well, no. This was. I don't think so because it has never happened after Harold did that first
Yeah, and
conference.
this was back in the late
Yeah, in
70s.
the
Yeah,
early days. Yeah, in the early days.
yeah.
Yeah. So, Simon, anything you like to add? I mean, on a personal level, what does being part of the association mean to you?
It's an opportunity to give back to my community, quite honestly, and to learn as well too. I wasn't raised completely in Trinidad. I left there at age 9, so there's a lot of things that I've been learning. My parents kept very close to the culture, so there's still a lot that I know, and I've made it a point to keep up with the culture. But I'm certainly learning a lot from the more senior folks like Nigel and others, Lord Barrington, who have been with the association a long time. But
Yeah.
I see it as an opportunity for me to personally give back to a community that I call my own, the Trini community. And so that really, really provides an opportunity for me to do that in numerous ways. I mean, we have different events throughout the year. We have a Yuletide event in December for Christmas. We have a soiree in late April, both for having fun. As you know, we Trinis, we like to party, but it's also to help raise funds for the Trinidad Scholarship Fund. It's an opportunity for us to get together and network as well. In my
Right.
current role, in addition to being the executive secretary, I'm also the chair of the membership committee, and that role is providing me opportunities to reach out to younger members, which is what we're trying to do to get the younger members to join the association to make sure that we have a way of passing the torch in the future and
Mhm.
keep the association strong. So,
Yeah.
but that's what I see as my role, and I get a lot of joy out of that, of being able to give back and do the things that I do.
Right.
Yeah, one of
Well,
the things that that committee is doing, as he says, is actually expanding the membership. Like I was saying, we have to reach out to all of the other Trinidad and Tobago communities. So in the month of November, we are going to have our first in-person meeting at which we are going to be inviting especially young members and young business people and young professionals to come out and hear what we do and have an opportunity, as Carlos says, to network and see how they can get involved to make the community a more homogeneous community for Trinidadians and Tobagonians in the DMV.
mhm. So, looking ahead, what are your hopes and goals for the association in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, basically it's going to be building on what I just said. I would like, right now we have a membership, active membership body of about, and when I say active membership, I mean contributing members who pay membership fees and so of about 150 people. I would like to see an active membership base of between 500 and 1,000 people. Um, the membership fees go towards allowing us to run various projects and so on. So I expect that as the group grows, we will be able to do more things and answer one of those questions that a lot of people ask, which is when are we going to purchase another property?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's no point in purchasing a property if you don't have members. So we have to build the membership base so that we have something that that the members can say yes, this is ours, and make sure that this time around the property can sustain itself and
Right.
not just depend on parties. Because for a long time, the most of what we did was raise funds via parties to pay for the building. We want
Right.
to get a step ahead of that.
Right.
Additionally, I would add just a little bit, Vaughn, we're doing things as well to provide outreach and additional services to the community. Willow mentioned about the Thanksgiving drive and the backpacks. We're also looking at this December to have a coat drive, a clothing drive, to
Oh,
reach out to members in the community who don't have sufficient clothing to keep them warm in the winter. And it's
Right.
those sort of things that members in a survey that they responded to earlier this year, those are some of the things that members said. They want more networking opportunities. They want more opportunity to serve the community in different ways. And so over the next 5 years, we're going to be looking at expanding those sort of activities where they can feel a direct impact and feel for what we're doing, be in touch with us.
Right, right, right. How do you keep members motivated when times are tough?
That's a good
I know it's
question.
a challenging one,
Well,
but
it's an ongoing thing. What we found since we started back, as you know, everything is virtual now. Since we started back, we found that the meetings that we have could not continue the way we used to have meetings in the old days where it was just business.
right, right.
So one of the things that we've introduced into all our meetings now is we have a guest speaker, and we try to get interesting topics that would interest as broad a sector of the community as possible.
Yeah,
Some of them attract a lot of people, some of them don't.
yeah,
But for example, at our October meeting, we are going to be having Dr. Hutchinson, who is going to be talking about heart health.
yes, yes,
Heart health concerns everybody. So we want to make sure that as many people come out to that and hear what she has to say.
yeah,
And it also gives the people an opportunity to talk about their practices
yeah,
and and therefore keep the community involved.
yeah, yeah.
What we have to do that we have not done a good job of is we have not kept our calendar current. We typically do go from month to month. But I think if we can tell people what's going to happen this month, next month, and the following month, they have something to look forward to at all times.
Right, right,
Right?
right.
Another thing that we are working on, and we haven't really gotten it off the ground as yet, is we want to build a resource page on our website that will include all of the professions, all of the trades of Trinidadians in the area. So, for example, if you need an air conditioned person, you can go to that thing, click on air conditioning, and you find a Trinidadian or a few Trinidadians who can come and take care of your air conditioning,
Right, right.
or your plumbing, or your electrician, or your heart specialist, or whatever the case might be. Because one of the things we push for, at least one of the things that I push for, is to remind everybody that we've got to keep the dollars that we earn in our community more than one go around.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah,
In one or two go arounds, our money is gone into another part of the community. In some other communities, their money is circulating at
right, right,
seven
right.
times.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
want to get to that. That's how you build wealth. That's how you support your own community.
right,
So
right.
that's one of the things that we think can help the community if the community knows who our people are who can help them.
Right,
Because
In conjunction with that, Ron, to what Willow just described, as we put the names of businesses and services on the website, we're going to be asking those businesses to provide a discount for members. Members are asking that. They're saying, in addition, what benefits are we getting from membership in addition to the soirees and the other, social events? So we're
Right.
looking at that. And the survey provided a lot of feedback about things that members want. So we'll be definitely taking a close look at that to see what drives members to want to continue to be members and what would attract people to want to become a member. For some people, it's heartfelt, like it is for me, like it is for Willow and others, Nigel, who have served for a long time. If we want to give back, and that's sufficient. For some of the new and younger members, they're looking for what's in it for me, and so we have to find out what it is that attracts them and what will retain them in the organization to give them, a sense of belonging and wanting to contribute in that way.
Right, 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 right. But it's amazing because so many Trinidadians are in so much diverse areas of functions within this community, doctors, businesses, and it's a wide span of activities that you have in the community, and therefore the association is a worthy tool to draw from all of those resources.
Yeah.
And
One of my pet peeves, and Carlos must have heard this 150 times, is that especially since COVID, and especially with the invention of the cell phones and texting and all that, we don't talk to each other.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and the conversation that I can have with you, Vaughn, on the phone is not the same kind of conversation we can have on a text message. I can get a heck of a lot more from sitting down and talking with you than exchanging a couple of texts. After you type 2 sentences, you want to go on to something else.
yeah,
Whereas if I'm sitting down and talking to you and you drop a name, it might be a name I remember about something that's interesting, and we may go on to talk about what that person does to the community. We could get that person to join the organization, or
right.
I could talk about somebody that you should interview that's doing something interesting in the community.
Yeah,
And you get that from conversation. It's difficult to get that kind of stuff from text messaging. So
right.
I keep telling our board, hey, pick up the phone and call. Don't just send me The other thing about text messaging is when you send a text to me, there's no telling when I'm going to read that. You
Right.
may want me to respond in half an hour,
Yeah,
and I might read it tonight, or I might read it tomorrow when I wake up in the morning.
yeah.
You know,
You know,
so it's so important that we take a good look at how we communicate in order to get to know our community better. That's not going to happen with text.
yeah. You know, one of the things I have kept telling some of the leaders of the association, Herman Samuel, Nigel Scott, a book needs to be written on the Trinidad and Tobago Association, history, roles, and functions. And I'm saying this because the association has done so much from my viewpoint. I've been here 48 years, 50 years, and I've seen it's because of the association, other national organizations were formed,
That's true.
you know.
That's true.
And I mean, because all these kinds of things have happened and it's not documented. Yeah, we could talk it, but it's not documented. And then I'm seeing proven success of it through my book, Voices of Pan Pioneers.
Mhm.
And I'm doing another book called Word Masters of Island Comedy. But we as a people have such a great outpouring of our cultural realities. And here in Washington, it has done a lot. But the association needs to write a book. So this is I'm telling you, I'm throwing that on you know, Willow and
Yeah.
Carlos. You all need to get
Yes.
cracking with that, you know?
Yeah.
And just to second you about the book, Yvonne, I went down to the embassy to look at the display of arts and things about Pan, and
Yeah,
your book is there front and center.
yeah,
It's nicely displayed, and I'm going to
yeah,
get
I see that.
a picture of that to send to you. Okay,
Yeah,
which
I got it. They sent it to me, you know. I couldn't make it, you know. I mean,
right,
these days I'm getting older, and so the movements are limited, you know.
Mhm.
But my mind isn't limited. It's still as sharp as I can keep it, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But your point is well taken about writing the history of the Trinidad and Tobago Association. And maybe, after hearing it so many times, we have to find a way to start.
That's
And
exactly it.
what I'm thinking, you mentioned Nigel, you mentioned Herman.
Right.
Maybe what we can do is to solicit um, some of the older folks, because as they
Yes,
get older, we eventually going to begin losing them,
yes, yes,
right?
yeah.
What we can do is to solicit some of the older folks and some of the older members, not necessarily aged,
Right.
to write something about their role in the association over whatever period of time,
Yeah.
and do it in a competitive way, or something like that, and then find somebody to be the curator of all of that information,
Yeah.
because if they can put it and reference the years that they can do it, a curator can put it into some kind of chronological order.
Once it's collected, it
Yeah,
can be
that's the most important thing, is to start a
it's just
collecting.
starting there. That's on your shoulders now, eh?
Yeah, what I think
Thank you.
would be useful with that is to get them to write a chapter. So that way we break up the work, and not any one of them, not Nigel or Claude or any of them, feel like they have the entire world on them, or Deanne. If we can get each of them to write a chapter that would be a contribution to the book, that could be a good way. And we could divide that up by different areas of the history of the organization, and I ask them to tackle those different aspects of it. I think we could probably get some success if
Well,
we approach it. And
when you say chapter, that's limiting.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, for example, Deanne. Ask Deanne to write a narrative of her history as president. Ask Nigel to do the same. They may not be chapters. They may be for certain periods.
right.
But at least you will get their entire history.
Right.
So the person, the editor who is going through this, can then look at it and see how he can put that into some kind of chronological order. But the idea is to get multiple people to contribute.
Yeah, the idea is to get the book done.
Get it started.
Get the book done. Yeah. Well, finally, what kind of support from the wider community would make the biggest difference for you guys?
The wider community?
Yes.
But I would tell you what the wider community is in my mind. The wider community is the young people, right? The average age of our board right now is somewhere around 65. The board, and you're talking about 9 people, right?
Yeah.
So you have several people on the board now that are in their mid-70s, and there's not a single member of the board that is under 50 years of age.
Yeah.
And what that does is that's the age group of the people that the organization attracts. So we have to, and that's one of the reasons why we are doing this meet and greet in November. We have to attract younger people. We have to get roles. Actually, I take that back. There's one member of the board that is under the age of 50. And that member of the board is the biggest recruiter in the organization right now. So the idea is to get as many young people involved and listen to them. Because one of the things that we don't do well is to listen to people who have not been running the organization. So we have to listen to these young people, hear what they want, because they are the future of the Trinidad and Tobago Association. So in a roundabout way, what I'm saying in answer to your question is that we want to attract the youth. And if we are successful in attracting the youth, the late 20s all the way up to the mid 50s, I think we would have started to break the code to making this a more inclusive organization.
Right.
The other thing that I'm looking forward to, and I think all of us on the board are, is now that we have a 501c3 status, we would like to give larger amounts and more scholarship amounts to the younger people, so that generation is properly positioned for their future. And so we're looking for ways to reach out, now that we have that 501c3 status, to individuals and businesses who would be willing to contribute, because it would be a tax-deductible donation. That would go a long way, and we would like to find people who have the money to do it, and are willing to connect us with others. That would help the organization go a long way in funding the Trinbago Scholarship Fund.
All right.
We have to be very careful when we say we have a 501c3. We do not. You're interviewing the Trinidad and Tobago Association. The Trinbago Scholarship Fund is a separate entity, and they have the 501c3. We support them. Right? So I just want to be clear. And the reason why I want to be clear is I was schooled by someone yesterday, as recently as yesterday, that the IRS does not look at us as one organization. And they do not want to know that we are one organization, or one has any control over the other. We are 2 separate organizations. But the Trinidad and Tobago Association offers its support 150% to the Trinbago Scholarship Fund, and we want to see them succeed, and we want to see them achieve the things that Carlos is talking about.
All right. Well, gentlemen, it's been a real treat and a real pleasure, My final question, final one. How has being part of the association shaped your sense of identity?
You want to take that first, Carlos? Mine might be
Sure,
too long.
sure, that's fine. I mean, I am a Trinity to the bone, without any question, without even having joined the association, but it certainly has fulfilled an additional part of my connection with my history. I've been going back and forth and, to Trinidad to visit. I still have plenty of family back there and cousins, but being a part of the organization is it's like a family. It's a reconnection with family and reconnection to deeper understanding of the culture through the different activities that the association does that I'm involved with, and listening to the more senior members of the organization talk about Trinidad history and different aspects of it is connecting me in different ways. I'm also, as the executive secretary, I'm connecting a lot with the embassy here in DC and members, staff in the embassy, and so it's giving me a much more rounded purview of my country and of our culture. So yeah, I'm benefiting definitely. I'm working hard, but I'm enjoying the work that I'm doing, and I'm benefiting from it because I'm learning a lot, and it's grounding me in my culture.
Okay. All right, so Willow.
Pretty much a lot of this the same thing.
Right,
I like I said at the very beginning, when I left Trinidad and came here, I was immediately immersed in the Trinidad and Tobago Association. At the time, it was Delafield Place, and Delafield Place was known as
Clubhouse.
home. But our home.
That's
our
another
home,
interview.
No. It was known as our home away from home.
Yeah.
And that home away from home idea, that feeling has stayed with me as a member of the association through the years, because whenever there's an association event, whenever there's anything to do with the association, even a funeral, you meet up people who you became acquainted to in the Trinidad and Tobago Association. So it has built in its own way a sense of community that we have not continued to build from the Clubhouse days or from the George Avenue days. And that's what we want to do now. And I want to be part of that.
All right.
Being a part of that.
Right. Gentlemen, thank you so much, man.
Thank you for having us, Vaughn.
I wish you good luck, Godspeed, and keep the flag flying, and don't forget the book,
we're gonna keep trying to sell it. It's a great book. I'm having a good time reading it, and we have a few more of them to sell, and we'll have another check to you.
Oh, no problem. No, I ain't talking about my book.
He's talking about the book
your book.
That book, yeah.
You see how much your book is on my mind. We really enjoying that. We really enjoy.
I am. Listen, I've just finished my autobiography, so that's another one coming out. I feel blessed. I'm one Trinidadian who feels so blessed that I'm still alive, I'm still here, and I'm still kicking. And
Vaughn, you have done so much for this community. I don't think people can begin to understand, especially those who have been here within just the last 10 years. But at one point in time, I don't know if it's the same way, but at one point in time, Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock, was a must on WPFW for every Trinidadian in this area. That's where we got everything, all the news, all the music, all the information about what's happening in town and all that. That would be quite right? So yeah, you've contributed a heck of a lot, and we appreciate you for it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I've been speaking with Willoughby Francis, the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Association, and Mr. Carlos Simon, the executive secretary of the association. This is Vaughn Martin. Caribbeana continues.